I seek refuge from Allah against the Satan the cursed. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most subtle. May the greetings and benedictions of Allah be upon Muhammad and his kinsfolk, Ahlulbayt. They are scholars of Islam. Always remember that the Holy Prophet entrusted his kinsfolk, Ahlulbayt, to you, and that you are going to account to him in the day of judgment how you treated his trust. He says, and I quote, I am leaving behind for you the Quran and Ahlul Bayt, and you are going to explain to me in the day of judgment how you treated them. Therefore, fear Allah and surrender to him and his messenger in totality. As in Quran chapter 4 verse 65, I quote, but know by your Lord, they can have no real faith until they make you judge in all disputes between them and find in their souls no resistance against your decisions, but accept them with the fullest conviction. End of quotation. Also in Quran chapter 33 verse 36, I quote, it is not fitting for a believer, man or woman, when a matter has been decided by Allah and his messenger, to have any option about their decision. If anyone disobeys Allah and his messenger, he is indeed on a clearly wrong path. Let us not be like those who chose the transient life over the eternal life by surrendering themselves to Satan, by severing themselves from Quran and the actual teachings of the Prophet, and engage themselves with false hadiths to mislead those who have no knowledge from the right path. Let us strive to be among those whom Allah described as righteous in Quran chapter 39 verse 18. I quote, those who listen to the word and follow the best meaning in it, those are the ones whom Allah has guided, and those are the ones endued with understanding. We give glory to Allah, who promised to protect and preserve the Holy Quran, which he did. Therefore, for any hadith to be authentic, it must not be repugnant to any provision of the Quran. Otherwise, it is a fake and fabricated hadith, be it from any book of hadith. Let us unveil the truth and save the Ummah. Islam is not a secret society. Islam is a religion of truth and nothing but the truth. It is very pathetic that many things went wrong immediately after the demise of the Prophet, when some of his companions betrayed him by disrespecting his will to Ali, his brother, to succeed the sacred leadership of the prophethood. Though Prophet Muhammad is the seal of prophets, but for any person to be eligible to occupy his sacred seat, he must be infallible like him. According to Allah and his messenger's tradition, succession to the Holy Prophet's leadership is divine, and the successors must be divinely appointed. The Holy Prophet told us that there shall be 12 sequential divinely appointed caliphs after him, as we can see in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim. That's why Allah ordered the Holy Prophet to make the pronouncement to his companions that Ali, being the first of the 12, is the appointed one by Allah to lead after him, which he did in the presence of about 70,000 of his companions at Ghadir home and witnessed by Angel Gabriel on the 18th of Zulhijjah on his way back to Medina from his farewell pilgrimage. Failure to obey the pronouncement, the Ummah will suffer retrogressive separation and divisions among themselves, and will be faced with incessant hullabaloo's and catastrophes, and the foundation of the Ummah will corrode and fall like a house of cards. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. The Ummah will suffer a failure to obey the pronouncement. The Ummah will suffer retrogressive separations and divisions among themselves, and will be faced with incessant hullabaloos and catastrophes, and the foundation of the Ummah will corrode and fall like a house of cards, which unfortunately is our incurable ailment today. Quite often did the Holy Prophet told his companions thus, "You shall never go astray, nor shall you be destroyed, as long as you abide by the appointment of Ali as your leader after me. But failure to pay allegiance to him, your selfishness and evil desire have thrust you into perpetual misplacement. For you to attain felicity from Allah is to follow Ali, the son of Abu Talib, after me." End of quotation. That is why the Holy Prophet always told the companions with emphasis that I am leaving with you the two weighty influences, holy, pure, and sacrosanct. They are the Holy Quran and my kinsfolk Ahlulbayt. The Ahlulbayt are infallible. They are divinely protected against any satanic disposition, because Allah has purified them with a thorough purification, as in Quran chapter 33 verse 33. They are purified as much as the Quran. Allah the Most High tells us about the purity of the Holy Quran in Quran chapter 80 verse 13 and 14. I quote, "It, the Quran, is in books held greatly in honor, exalted in dignity, kept pure and holy." Kept pure and holy. End of quotation. And about the purity of Ahlulbayt, in Quran chapter 33 verse 33, I quote, "And Allah only wishes to distance all abominations from you, O Ahlulbayt, and to make you pure and spotless." And to make you pure and spotless. End of quotation. That's why Allah and his messenger ordered all the companions, down to the believers that will come in the later end, to follow Ahlul Bayt after the Prophet. But some of the companions, such as Abu Bakr and Umar, who disobeyed the Holy Prophet and hijacked the leadership immediately after the death of the Prophet, no verse of Quran did mention that they are pure. Not even pure. No verse told us that they are pious. Therefore, they are not in any way pure. They are fallible, faulty and defective, imperfect and unholy. They are indisputably unqualified. That is why, when they hijacked the power, they brought so many changes into the practices of Allah's messenger. They changed almost all the mode of worship laid down by the Holy Prophet, as reported by Anas bin Malik in Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 529 and 530. It is their alterations in the Sunnah of the Prophet that is known as the Sunnah of Abu Bakr and Umar. The Islam Allah sent to us as a religion through Prophet Muhammad is a non-violent religion. It's a religion of peace, dialogue, and conviction. But they turned it into a religion of violence, and they became oppressors and transgressed on others, especially on the household of the Holy Prophet, the Ahlulbayt, who became their worst victims. The period of their rulership became the age of darkness and disintegration, where humanity had returned to barbarity and libertine life, in which despotism and suppression had replaced kindness and faith, and vice became supreme, while virtue was trampled upon and despised. Since then, the Muslim Ummah had been in disarray. See similar statement in the book of Sirr al-Alamin by Imam al-Ghazali. Another renowned scholar by name Sa'aduddin at-Taftazani wrote in his book Sharhul Maqasid, he says, and I quote, "Verily, what occurred between the companions of the Prophet pertaining to wars and disputes, as written in the books of history and uttered by reliable sources, is an incontrovertible assertion that some of the companions deviated from the right path after the death of the Prophet, and their deviation from the right path reached the degree of tyranny and transgression. Tyranny and transgression. And the reasons for their ungodly attitudes are hatred and stubbornness, envy and violent disputes, against Ahlulbayt in bracket, thirst for reign and rulership, inclination to temptations. The fact is that not all the companions were infallible, except the Ahlulbayt in bracket. And not all that saw the Prophet were righteous, but in order to give the companions benefit of doubt, the scholars interpreted the atrocities of those companions in golden interpretations. In order to preserve that benefit of doubt in the minds of Muslims, especially for those of them that were said to have been given the good news to enter paradise in the hereafter. But the subsequent cruelty and maltreatment against the Ahlul Bayt was too conspicuous that it could not be concealed, and too disgusting that no reasonable and responsible person will support. The inhumanity was so horrible that all creation wept over it. The mountains almost fragmentized, and the rocks almost cracked to dust, and the evil effects of the terrorism against Ahlul Bayt will live in the hearts of mankind till eternity. But the punishment for the oppressors in the hereafter is more severe and permanent." End of quotation. Dear brothers and sisters, let us revive the real teachings of the Prophet and restore his unique principle of peace and peaceful coexistence among all, irrespective of our religious differences, as demonstrated by Ahlul Bayt after him. Let us shun all the fake and fabricated hadiths that teach violence and inhumanity. An English writer and philosopher, George Bernard Shaw, says in his book, The Genuine Islam, Volume 1, Number 8, 1936, I quote, "I believe that if a man like Muhammad were to assume the dictatorship of the modern world, he will succeed in solving its problems in a way that will bring it the much needed peace and happiness. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.